Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Smith, Chairman of the Board and founder of the University of Natural Medicine. I've been in clinical practice in holistic and integrated medicine for over 25 years. I'm also a clinical researcher for the developer of a product called Alpha Rice. Today I would like to share with you this incredible product and how it's creating a revolution in the paradigm of medicine itself. It all comes down to cellular nutrition. If you haven't heard that term, you're going to hear more and more about it in the future because the foremost scientists in the world are realizing that everything happens on the cellular level. Now, this particular food, as I'm going to be talking about today, we call it a functional food, provides the essential ingredients, the materials for the cell to function to its optimal level. Now, we're all talking about looking for health and happiness. We're going to do what we can in life because without that, what do we have? We can have all the riches in the world, but if we don't have health and we don't have happiness, what's our life truly about? In order to maintain health, we have to have what's called homeostasis. Homeostasis is a combination of different conditions. We're talking about a balanced blood cholesterol, balanced blood sugar, having the right body temperature. We don't want to be too hot, too cold. There's this constant regulatory process going on. But even more important than that are the electrolytes and also pH balance. Our body's going through this perpetual regulating of all of these different conditions in order that we can maintain optimal health. With that, everybody can be happy. There's a problem though. In today's modern lifestyle, our body cells tend to degenerate faster than we normally age. This is called degeneration. Our cells are subjected to possible injuries by toxic agents such as heavy metals, chemicals, man-made products called xenobiotics. Now, what most people don't know today is that only 15% of disease today is related to pathogenic microorganisms, such as the viruses, the bacteria, the fungi, and the yeast. 80 to 85% of degenerative disease today is related to what are called metabolic imbalances. Now, you know what those are? Those are directly related to cellular function and the nutrients that the cell utilizes for optimal health. There's a new condition which has been around, that's been identified, which has basically been around for eons. It is the basis or the precursor to all of these, what we were just mentioned as 80 to 85% of degenerative disease today. It's called Syndrome X, or metabolic syndrome. What happens here, if the cells cannot utilize nutrients to an accumulation in the body of waste products, whereby serious metabolic conditions such as what is called hyperinsulinemia may develop. This condition, which is Syndrome X, is often the root cause of these 80% of disease today, including neurological diseases such as Alzheimer's. We could go through them: cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, practically any condition we're talking about that exists in humans today can be related to this metabolic syndrome. Your body produces billions of new cells. These are constantly being regenerated. Some of these for growth, while others replace those that die, including the brain cells. Now, don't believe that people tell you that you cannot regenerate brain cells. We can. There was a study done at Princeton University recently that actually finally proved that to science, that we do regenerate brain cells. So what is it about these cells? Well, let's look at some of the functions. They feed our body. They regulate our body. They cleanse and detoxify our body. They defend us against outside invaders and microorganisms, and they repair the different functions of the body and the cells themselves. And research is now showing, and there's much more focus on it today than ever before, that if you provide your body, and particularly your cells, with the proper optimal nourishment at the cellular level, you can improve the body's overall functions and performance. So that's what we want to find, is the right ingredients, the right source of what the cell needs. Now, what does the cell need? It needs carbohydrates, polysaccharides, the right form of sugars. What study done at is either Cambridge or Oxford, I don't remember which one, actually showed that the cells in our body have the capability of accepting or rejecting any nutrients that comes their way. So they know what's good and what isn't. They can actually shut down. They'll say, no, I don't want that. You know, it's genetically modified. I don't recognize it. It's hybridized. It's been processed, and so I no longer recognize it as a food. We've got to have the right proteins, amino acids, peptides. The peptides form the amino acids to form the proteins. Those are the building blocks. Those are what send the messages through the DNA to the RNA in the cell to get the new cells created that are healthy cells rather than degenerative cells. We also need vitamins and minerals and, of course, water. But most important of all this is the nutrients need to be digested to be utilized. If the cells aren't metabolizing them properly, guess what's going to happen? They're going to turn to toxins. Now, what's the solution? Well, there's a cellular food which helps rebuild your body at the cellular level. It's a functional food called alpha rice. Now, Dr. Martin Goldberg, he's an MD, very respectable, reputable MD in the United States. He termed functional food as a food that has a positive impact on an individual's health, physical performance, state of mind, in addition to its nutritive value. So beyond just getting nutrition, we want to have something that's functional, right? That's going to lead us to optimal health. Well, alpha rice is the right food for your cells. The key with alpha rice is it's readily assimilated and utilized by the body as a food and works to provide the required ATP, or energy that we've been talking about, and nutrients to the cells, thus preventing the impairment of this glucose energy metabolism, which, as we've been talking about, leads to Syndrome X. Alpha rice is the purest form of food for the cells known on the planet today. As I mentioned, I've been in practice for over 25 years now, and I have never seen anything that even comes close to being able to provide the essential nutrients that the cell needs for these functions. If we have healthy cells, we're going to have functional organs, a functional system, and optimal health. Well, why is alpha rice so unique? Well, scientists and researchers spent many years developing this proprietary technology, which means they're the only ones in the world who know how to produce this alpha rice, employing both a biotechnology and a microtechnology. Now, this was all natural. It does not use any chemicals, enzymes, totally natural process of being able to extract what are called the polysaccharides, which are basically the carbohydrates or the sugars, and the polypeptides, which we had mentioned are the key to amino acids which form the proteins. And these are from specially selected fractions of whole, non-hybrid, non-GMO native strains of rice that create this bioavailable form of the carbohydrates and amino acids that feed the cell directly. So what is alpha rice? Well, it goes through this mechanical hydrolysis and this micronization to create the polysaccharides, the polypeptides, minerals, antioxidants, which we're going to be talking about. The phytonutrients are contained within the plants, and some vitamins and minerals. Now, they don't provide all the vitamins and minerals the body needs. You still need to eat a well-balanced diet, and if necessary, you may need to take some supplementation too. But what this is the functional food for the cells themselves. That's what has to happen before you can even metabolize or utilize your foods or the other nutrients that you may consume. So where does alpha rice come from? As I mentioned, it comes from native strains of organically grown brown rice, short grain rice, and fragrant rice grown in the Siam Valley of Thailand. Now, what's so special about the Siam Valley of Thailand? For over 100,000 years, it's a natural organic mineral accumulation in this soil. It has been irrigated with water that is just rich and laden with spirulina, and we all know spirulina to have just a bountiful array of nutrients and minerals and vitamins and coenzymes. So it's been feeding this soil. Now the plants in the soil can just take these nutrients and readily utilize them to make a very, very, let's call it nutritious or very high content of nutrient factors. The other thing about it is that they actually harvest this rice at the optimal time when it has the highest level of nutrients, and that is one of the key factors as well. Now, this is a pure compound isolated from rice. Researchers who discovered alpha rice have successfully been able to combine Thai folk medicine. For many years, rice gruel was considered very beneficial for health in Thailand. And then they combined it with modern, sophisticated mechanical hydrolysis without, as I mentioned, using any enzymes, chemicals, or acids to obtain this powerful nutrient compound in the form of a pulverized functional food supplement. Now, why is it important that it's pulverized and micronized? We have to have the cell, in order for it to absorb these nutrients, they need to be broken down into a structure, a molecular structure that they can utilize. Now, if they're too small, such as nanonization, they get too flooded, which is what they're finding out. They thought nanonization was going to be the wave of the future. But you have to have a balance of these different sized molecules. So it's good to maintain it at about 1 to 300 level of micron particle size so that the cells can optimally absorb it and utilize it. This slide here just shows this pyramid-shaped structure of the alpha rice itself. And as I mentioned, the average size is 200 to 300 microns, which is it's a one-sided fiber-like surface. So that's why not specifically a fiber, it has a fiber-like action which helps with the overall flow throughout the whole gastrointestinal system. Let's look at some of the incredible benefits of this alpha rice. There are almost too many to mention, but the many benefits that we've seen in clinical research and anecdotal studies were in so many testimonials were improved skin condition, improves mental vitality and circulation to the brain, and attention span as well. So we're going to have much more focus, much more presence, and much more energy to carry out our daily functions, assist in digestion and metabolism, which is a key component. If we're not metabolizing our food, we can